something special to react to Reckless.
And it'll be interesting to see how well Caps can deal with that kind of pressure, because Broxah, he's not famously known for camping mid lane, and sure, while he does gank occasionally there, a lot of the investment either goes into trying to snowball Soaz or to better snowball Reckless and Jez's. So jungle investment early on will be a very interesting matchup.
I like it. The Nunu ban respect here.
Yep.
For Contracts and his one game of Nunu that he did play. I do think the champion's even better here on 7-13. And would be, absolutely a positive, pick there for Cloud9. Off the table, though.
Yep, want to point out, if we weren't covering that well enough, Ray has come in. Cloud9 picked red side. They put in Ray in the starting lineup here into this one, and so we'll see how much more he can do. Statistically, he does a bit more damage than Impact does, but of course, they're both very good players. 2 tank bans off the table, trying to remove some of Smoothie's options. And we'll see, Caitlyn is still up there as a very common first pick, but, not so much for Reckless here. Doesn't have to play the champion and hasn't at all split.
Now, this is fascinating because what Cloud9 have done is they've given Fnatic the choice of leaving Shen open or leaving Thresh open. And typically what you would expect is the priority on the Thresh, because Fnatic are used to playing without the Shen, because that's usually what's banned away. So if that's given away, we'll just give the freedom for Soaz to play more of a carry-orientated top, should he so want to.
Let's see if that comes in. If they want to take the Shen away, or if they give that one up as well, they've got 2 picks to go with. And they're going to take the priority Caitlyn, and then we see if they take a priority jungler or if they do deny the Shen away.
All right, Sneaky
or priority mid lane LeBlanc.
Oh, the LeBlanc also had that being up. Yes, as well.
Yeah, we had such target bans. One of the queens of mid lane is in.
Oh my goodness, Rek'Sai is still available as well, and that would be a very good complementary pick to add physical damage threat to the mid lane in addition to a LeBlanc. Those two working together, I don't think Fnatic can actually afford to let that go over to the other side. They'll take the Lee Sin instead, actually, and let Contracts grab it.
This is a pick that made Broxah respected and well-known here in Europe. In his debut, he brought out the Lee Sin, and he made it to the front page of Reddit on his very first day. Like, this guy has the mechanics.
When you made it, that's when you
made it, right? Like, this guy...
I know, my tier lists are amazing.
It's
All right, slow down there.
It's one of his most commonly played junglers. He has fantastic early game pressure, and it's just something that he has a lot of comfort on. So I think that it's a promising pick for Fnatic, but as you already said, it'll be interesting to see how well he can do against Contract should he go for the Rek'Sai.
Yeah, and I would think that he would want to grab that before the second round of bans, but, Contracts has also played Olaf and things like this that go through, so, maybe in the end, they actually can use their last kind of protected pick here, because Cloud9 then are going to get the first ban again on the second phase to go top lane instead.
Well, Versatility. Gragas Flex going to be the pickup, and I thought Gragas was going to go up in priority because of Cinderhulk buffs, but all the Gragas we've seen so far have remained Runic Echoes. Now, it's been from the NA junglers who have had a bit less time to play on the patch, but you figure they still read the patch notes at some point here. Either way, Gragas Flex. We are into the second phase of bans, and we're going to see likely some top lane bans away from Fnatic, Rumble being the first one of them. Top and bot lane, the available roles for the European squad.
With Fiora banned away, Soaz indicating that he may very well want to go for more of a tanky top lane matchup. Typically, Reckless has gone more towards either the Tristana or the Twitch. I would be very surprised if he picked something like a Vayne into a Caitlyn, especially as he wants to take this game serious. So Tristana seems like the most likely. And then if they round things out with a Shen, they have a very well-rounded composition overall. I'd say it's a very classic League of Legends.
Yeah, definitely one of the standard ones. It would all be fairly older champions as well that have been in the meta before. Regardless, though, Cloud9 continuing with their top lane focus in the bans, and Gnar still will not get to see gameplay here. We've really been talking it up and waiting for it, though.
So I'm wondering what Cloud9's going to first pick here, because you're throwing in 2 top lane bans, assuming you're going to pick a top laner yourself. I think they're both good into Shen, as well as both good into Renekton. And we'll see what comes in here into this one. Actually, Rumble Renekton is maybe more of a toss-up, but Gnar is great into it, and it's going to be the Renekton after all. Waiting to see for sure. And as time goes in, and I think Shen's supposed to be good into Renekton in itself, so gonna let Soaz play comfort if he wants it.
Shen can usually just hold its own into a number of things. Just thinking about other top lane possibilities, we've seen a lot of Kled being picked into the Renekton, and it would give a form of engage for Fnatic, and you do then have that later on side lane pressure. You could also go for the Jarvan, but it would be a little bit risky as they lock in their AD carry.
People keep bringing up the frequency of the Kled into Renekton, and I feel like that's just, it's an answer. It's an okay answer.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. He's just generically good, and like, yeah, whatever, we'll just play the matchup. Galley going to pick up anyway. Fnatic going to go ahead and play a tank in the top lane. Looks like Cloud9 just kept getting away with dropping off the damage rolls. And so Orianna, Galio, the two solo laners for Fnatic, and Rekt is going to go on his third most played of Twitch.
Yeah, I don't think that's too much of a surprise. Soaz has had very good Shen, Galio, and some Gragas games, right?
Yeah.
Those have kind of been the main three for him. And the Galio does offer that extra support to the other lanes that he can then ultimate over to.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Reckless with the super good possibility of late game hyper carry here on Twitch. Definitely one of the slightly more underutilized late game carries.
But the interesting thing we're seeing from Cloud9 is that they have a lot of pressure from their lanes, right? You have push power in the top lane with the Renekton. The LeBlanc should have the advantage, early advantage at the very least, over the Orianna. And the bottom lane, Caitlyn kind of dumps as every other AD carry. So in terms of the range advantage that she have, it's going to be pushing in the bottom and pushing all across the map. The difference is, compared to P1, they don't really have an early snowballing jungler like a Lee or an Elise. They have the Gragas, so they're scaling more towards that mid-game team fight, and very similar to what we did see from them earlier on in the day.
And we should definitely see Contracts be more proactive in this game than in the last game. He was working with losing matchups before for his laners, but now, as you touched on, they have much stronger matchups. They should be pushing, and they have plenty of damage to fall up on Gragas' crowd control. Gragas, while he's not the best early 1-versus-1 jungler, he is amazing at ganking super early on. That level 3, when you have flash, can guarantee at least a summoner out of the enemy laner. So I definitely want to see a more proactive Contracts this time around.
We'll see if he can do it, if he can make Fnatic sign in blood for it as we get ourselves into our 5th game of Rift Rivals. Fnatic undefeated so far. Cloud9 hoping for their first win here on this one as they dropped to G2 earlier on. Let's see what we can do as Game 5 is afoot. Europe versus North America is the name of the day and the series of the week. Here we go, Cloud9 and Fnatic facing off again.
A lot of fans very likely get excited about this one. I even saw a lot of C9 fans in the audience. So people are going to be divided as to who they want to come out victorious. But what I'm interested in seeing is, as we talked about earlier on, right at the start of the game, early jungle focus. Where is it going to be from Broxah and from Contracts? Because as you were saying earlier on, Kobe, Contracts, he usually invests a lot of his early game around the middle lane.
Yeah, and it definitely should be the case this time around, trying to help out the LeBlanc. They can set up those ganks really, really well. Caps is not running a cleanse. He's got the heal instead for, the speed to try and dodge the chain maybe, or at least guarantee that he's going to get some health back on that summoner use, but won't be able to get out of a chain or anything, and that makes it very easy for a Gragas to get in range.
And Caps is even running Storm Raiders as well, which I haven't seen almost any of on Orianna, but it's going to give him, again, a lot of follow-up speed if he does land any burst in, so should be fun to watch, but it does mean lower damage because it's pretty easy to apply Thunderlords for damage output, but he doesn't have that.
The big thing I'm also mindful of is the teleport being picked up by Jensen as well, because while it will allow you to play more aggressively in lane because you can afford to take trades, then you use the TP to come back into lane. It also means you have a side lane threat. Smoothie looks for a block.
Yep, forcing the flash. Nice play.
And that is huge here for Cloud9, and Smoothie able to blow the flash of mid lane. If there was any doubt before about Contracts playing around mid lane or being proactive, then that should be removed, as Caps now actually is going to have to play much more defensively. Probably going to need Broxah around for some extra vision, as they will expect Contracts there.
So keep your eye on this ward in the river.
More than just vision.
Or just go for a gank mid.
And he's going to have to flash early on to get away from it. Nice attempt there by Broxah, getting that trade back.
And that is critical here to blow the counter flash there on LeBlanc. And for Jensen to use it that early, because if he lands the Q there, not only are you blowing a summoner spell, you might die, probably will die, as well as at least, Jensen taking a good trade here, taking a very large chunk of health. Contracts, though, could come around the exact same way. If he slips through the banana brush, he would avoid that ward. Right now, though, still alive there around the Scuttle Crab.
I'm very surprised that Jensen did choose to flash that, because in the event that he did take the Q to the face, he still has 3 ticks on his Corrupting Potion, right? Like, he also has the teleport, so maybe like burning the teleport early might have been a healthier investment, but regardless, he is going to use it to escape. He's going to avoid that early damage, and Broxah will be able to get the level 3, but I thought it was really smart from Smoothie to actually drop a ward in the river, because the expectation was when you see the bottom lane and the mid laner trying to set up a play in the enemy jungle that early on, you can assume that the enemy jungle will not be getting a pull and not be starting bottom side. So the expectation is that he tries to go for an invade onto blue, and by putting the ward there, you actually have full vision that Broxer is doing that, so you can then do the exact same thing on the other side.
What a hook, though. He's almost in turret range, but not quite. Just going to trade back and forth, but Sneaky then half HP.
Yeah, huge trade there for the Fnatic bottom lane. Uh-oh, mid lane again, though.
Chain's going to land, and now Jensen has to get away from it somehow. Late W going to get him behind the wall, and Juke's correctly away from this one. Nice little slow on a Broxer at 150 HP. Now if they go, big chunk coming through.
All right, visiting around mid lane, definitely paying off there again for Cloud9, and Smoothie tries to roam up as well. They really want to get this kill onto Caps.
Yeah, well, they know Broxer went topside because he certainly didn't show on this ward down here, so Smoothie knows they got some time on the 3v1. Caps flash hook's going to land, knockup's there, body slam, the chain's in. First blood comes through to Contracts.
Teleport going to come through for Soaz, but shouldn't be much of a counter kill here. Broxer is in the area.
No, Smoothie's a bit low, but his Keystone should be on cooldown for a few more seconds. Here comes the body slam, going to land here. Too much damage for Soaz, it is! And he comes in a TP to kill himself. Jensen gets a kill.
Cloud9 with a fantastic start to the game. Smoothie, he has the pressure from his Caitlyn to give him the freedom to roam. He punishes the fact that Caps has no flash, and because Soaz tries to TP in to help, they end up getting themselves 2 very early kills.
Yeah, letting his frustration show a little bit there through. They had already given up so much mid lane pressure, and to force that down in numbers, very, very risky. Here again, they know that he has no flash, so a very easy hook there for Smoothie, lining it up against the wall as well. That reduces the number of directions that you can even try and dodge, so guarantees that one. But then, yeah, as we said, Soaz really frustrated that they had lost out on that play, I believe. You could tell that Broxer was like, I can't do much here. On the bottom side, though.
He's just gone. There's almost no way out for this one. Going to buy a bit of time, and he's going to get a bit of a reckless, nicely played there. Jesse, you saw him walk forward. Hope for maybe a follow-up on a Sneaky. None to be had, but a great kill picked up with that hook from the brush.
Really good there, getting back out on the field. Lee Sin is able to capitalize, and they do get the kill over to Reckless. That's what's important for Fnatic, getting some money onto this Twitch.
And bear in mind the amount of time now that Sneaky's had to play in the bottom lane without support. This means that he doesn't have the same kind of pressure that he would have early on. He can't trade as effectively. There's no risk of Reckless getting hooked in, which means that he's slowly been able to close the farm gap. And what you would normally expect from a Caitlyn of being super lane dominant and having a massive CS differential, Reckless has been able to close the gap.
Yeah, the other thing is that a jungler can only go to, so many lanes and early on in the game, and C9 have all 3 great lanes for jungle pressure to assist, so having to opt for the top side. With Soaz also teleporting to the mid lane, he gave up another wave to Ray, and Ray now
half a level up.
Exactly, on Renekton. Definitely in place to continue to bully. Maybe now we'll see the effects of the Galio nerfs, where it won't be able to wave clear as safely and as effectively as previously in these matchups where he just go full defensive at this point and spam the Wings of War.
And what I'd love to see from Cloud9 right now is an investment in this early Infernal Drake, because they should now, with the return of Smoothie to the bottom lane, have the pushing advantage. They know that Jensen will not lose out against Soriana, especially being that he's level 6. So they have the TP play to easily force this early Drake.
Look at this damage output here. Going to get a knockup, but thankfully for Raid, knocks him just really out of turret range to deny one more turret shot. But the damage output certainly there for him, and he went for the all-in, of course, before, so as was level 6. Sadly, though, there was no contracts to be had. Is Broxer going to go for this one? Yeah, he's going to go for the knockup into his face, knock him back, and the hook is there as well, and Jensen just secures the kill for good measure.
Continued camping around mid lane here. They carve out an area of the map with their advantage and continue to play on that extra vision. Broxer thought that he was okay because he has this control ward in his Raptor brush, but the other ward is just outside of vision, and they decide to spend their flash there from Contracts on another kill.
And it's Ray going for a bit more on a Soaz, forcing the flash to get away because cooldowns are coming up very shortly. Out he goes in the top lane.
Fantastic early pressure overall coming out from C9, and it just speaks to what we were talking about, right? So much investment around the middle lane. The fact that Caps had to burn so many summoners early on and was put so far behind means that he just doesn't have the same level of assistance or the same kind of pressure to mitigate this jungle pressure that Contracts is constantly exerting into the enemy jungle. And again, look at all this vision that's being set up in the river from Cloud9. 2 control wards in the river. You also have that 1 ward at the entrance, which means that they constantly understand where Brox is trying to make early play.
And the rewards will continue to flow through the mid lane to C9. Jensen can deny several of the minions when the wave is pushing, forcing Caps to play super defensively at his turret right now. And he's just trying to wave clear here, while Jensen with the teleport can have so many options. Either they camp mid lane again, he can teleport down to a side lane. It kind of just nullifies and paralyzes Fnatic here in the mid game. If they try and pull something off on the bottom side, they do have to worry about teleports.
They got Smoothie on this one. It's a fairly tanky blitzstring, but he's kicked into the wall. The damage input's there. Here comes a spray and pray. A lot more coming through. Still trying to kite back, but it's going to be one kill picked up so far for Reckless. Ray's TP means nothing as SOAS matches it.
Actually, very critical there for Fnatic that they get this kill, and there's no extra pressure from Cloud9. Jensen doesn't come in as well. They get the kill, they get out, and now Sneaky actually might be under fire.
Ward, though, he's got Ray near him, and there's a minute to jump through, but the rest of the squad is there. No really available chase yet.
Now Fnatic, they have to be careful because they're sticking around for a long time, and Contracts has been able to come down. TP is available on Jensen too.
He's still not using it though.
Blocked it out. Can they get away from the Lantern? No, he's going to finally get pulled back over. Contracts now sees Explosive Cast brings in Reckless, but here comes Galio, and he's got to run away. Hero's entrance buys a bit of time with the knock up on a Contracts. Ray not finding himself a kill just yet. Looks like it's going to be the escape for Fnatic.
But so much time was spent from Fnatic in the bottom lane. This Dragon is prime for C9.
And they are actually visiting mid lane first here as they want to blow another summoner.
Chain's going to land, though. It's going to be hit confirmed. Flash to get away with it. Now can Smoothie go for the shot? He's not going to try. Maybe afraid of Caps getting damaged.
Yeah, intelligent by Caps there to try and flash the last little bit before the chain procs, because then it will be a guaranteed hook landing. But they're actually not immediately starting up the Drake, going for counter jungling first and clearing out some of those wards. I still think they'll be able to do it, but now Fnatic are, actually have a chance of getting back out on the field to try and stop that objective.
That's so much additional risk though, because look, you can see Ray, he's already moved back up to the top lane, and if C9 commit to that objective, Fnatic can more than happily go for the fight, and they should have the numbers advantage as well. But neither team prioritizing the Dragon. I just find this a little bit surprising that given the advantages C9 had, they wouldn't try and get that early info.
Yeah, until they see SOAS leave the bottom side of the map. As you said, they're going to be outnumbered since the teleport for Ray isn't there. So they are kind of delaying it here. Still, Jensen, though, here with the LeBlanc, waiting to see him kind of affect more than just the mid lane and start to move around.
Well, it's spilling over a little bit, though. You look at the jungle matchup here, and Brock is a full level behind Contracts and significant gold down as well. In Scarline, they're only apart by 1 kill, but in gold, it's more like 900 apart.
And that's mostly due to the threat of Jensen from the mid lane. He hasn't actually moved, though.
But he's there, and the gravitas allows Brock to never go to his own Raptors.
Very true.
The vision helps too.
Sure.
Contracts always trying to drop a ward down there so that he can see the path that Brox is taking. A level behind, and this is a little unconventional from Brox. He's not used to being shut down early on. Many of the European junglers often don't challenge him in terms of this early presence, and it's interesting to see how he will do now that he's put in this kind of a deficit, because for Fnatic, all of their laners right now are at a significant deficit, and while they certainly are used to being behind, it'll be interesting to see if they can claw back from the massive early snowball that C9 have started to build.
Well, #1 goal for Fnatic right now is secure the defensive vision, which they are, to their credit, doing for both of their jungle entrances right now. This allows for Broxai at least to continue to farm his own camps to try and keep pace and not let this experience disadvantage continue.
Yeah.
But it makes it very hard to react to plays, even though they have teleport and they have a Galio from the top lane. It's really hard to.
Body slam's gonna land. Explosive Caster follow through. Can they get the chain? They try to get in. Yes, they will. And Caps is summonerless. Shockwave can't even go off in time. And Jensen gets himself his 3rd kill of the game.
Caps, he's just trying to get vision. That's all he wants to do, man. Contracts immediately punishing him. Always being camped, always being shut down. 0-2 in the mid lane, and Jensen, he continues to snowball.
Sometimes, even if you know that this is the very clear objective, as we said, for Cloud9, and Contracts has to be more proactive, and has to camp this mid lane, even if you know it's coming, still able to be successful there, and C9 probably going to be able to get 80% of this turret.
The Galio is coming.
Yeah, the Galio coming down is actually a pretty big deal. He could ult in, and Ray cannot TP to join, but he's going to shove that top lane into the turret, and SOA's going to miss a wave.
Exactly. That means that, okay, they don't finish this turret, but then the top turret takes some more damage, and this is a Renekton, so he's eventually going to be able to take his toll. Contracts, again, another Raptor camp steal.
It's like 4.
And this is why I always talk about, mid lane taking that priority and getting that pressure in the mid lane, because Raptor camp has become the most important small camp due to the oh, never mind, we're on a ward. Let's see how this plays out.
Well, he spots one of the brush, not the other. The rest of Fnatic raiding right behind, and Sneaky calls out, hey, no one's in lane.
Yeah. Immediate
No one's in lane. Contracts, no one's in
back.
lane. All right, he gets the hook to confirm his suspicions.
Unlucky miss there from Jersey's.
Yep.
But now there's because the bottom lane of Fnatic have been forced back, they have a minion wave. C9 poised to take their very first tower of the game, and with mid-low and top-low, they can very easily rotate this bottom lane around the map to take the rest of the tier 1 towers.
And we really want them to take the Infernal Drake because they have so much pressure around there, but they don't need to rush it here. Caps again.
They've got everything they need. Jensen on a rampage. There's nothing Caps can do. It's impossible. He gets jumped on. Gunblade slows him, and the chain can't miss.
Again. You know what's coming, but what are you going to do about it?
It's one of those situations where Caps is like, I'm really excited to prove myself against Jensen, and then Jensen's like, hey man, hey look, maybe next time you'll have a better shot against me. And it's like, this isn't fair. I didn't agree to a 2v1.
He got a 3v1. He lost his flash before he went to lane.
Smoothie comes too.
3v1, sadly, Caps cannot outplay, and very nicely done. Jensen on the LeBlanc certainly doing well for himself. And there, Infernal Drake picked up contracts there for show.
All right, well, that was going to go a long way in keeping the snowball going for Cloud9, which is important. They are the more early game-oriented squad. Again, though, here, Caps just trying to sneak up and get a little bit of minion money. Contracts continually blowing his flash in the mid lane. As we said, LeBlanc very easily sets this up with distortion into chain so that it's pretty much guaranteed.
And this is any solo queue players at home playing against an Orianna. If a flash is down, she becomes super easy to gank. And even though Caps is playing hyper defensively, notice he's always hanging around the top half of his lane where the entire river is warded. It's still not enough because of the immense mobility from the LeBlanc and the Gragas to lock him down and continue the ganks.
It's the payout of a 2,000 gold lead. If Jensen weren't up 2K, this would be a little bit closer, but he's just literally up 2 levels right now. He's up practically a full item at this point. Cap's still trying to finish his first major combine.
Okie dokie.
For top lane, looking for Ray. They're going to find themselves a slow and not the taunt because Soaz didn't want to flash for it. Maybe it was worth doing, though, because it would have confirmed the rest of the CC.
But look in the bottom lane, C9 immediately responding. They'd already started the push. They have a big wave. They're going to have the tempo advantage, but Fnatic, they're just trying to get something back on the map.
Exactly. This is very similar to last game. Cloud9 actually wanting a counterplay here, though.
Bodysun's going to land on a 1. Here comes the TP in, though, for the top laner. Is going to be stopped out.
Jensen's first side lane teleport is on a turret that is like 2 hits from dying, and it just dies. Jensen.
Yeah, but Jess is just, that question mark is exactly correct there, Andy, because he goes down kind of for free in a 1v2.
The question mark was for the wrong person.
Yeah. That's okay. I got you. Me and Vetty at some point right here. Nice kick into the wall. A lot of damage on the contracts. The Q's going to land. They're going to get a bit more damage out of him, but he's pretty tanky, and here comes the rest of the team. Braxa going to go down to the chains.
Jensen snaps back over to Caps and has to flash that shockwave. But again, Cloud9, as you said, they took the bottom turret during that. We had the screen up here, up all this top lane action, but Sneaky, during that time on the Caitlyn, they take the secondary turret down bottom and rotate up to mid.
You can really see the jet lag affecting Caps in the middle lane. It's just, he's so tired, really difficult.
The shuttle lag.
But in all seriousness, really good play from C9. The fact that they send both Contracts and Ray up to the top side of the map just to delay Fnatic from going back, trying to answer anything that C9 has tried to make, as now they're going for another play on Ray.
All right. Ray in this one, hoping to turn it back around 16.5 minutes into this one. The flash, the exhaust, the flay is going to land, and Ray should be going down to this one. The hook to make sure Reckless getting himself his 4th kill of the game. All of Fnatic's gold onto him.
So this is the bright side for Fnatic. Reckless is still ramping up. He's completed his Blade of the Ruin King. 4-0, Soaz gets hooked.
They're going to find Soaz. He's going to be over the wall, has flash available, has a lantern on the wrong side. He's going to blast cone back out, though. C9 unable to knock that one out in time, but Soaz still trying to run away. Going to just barely justice punch, and the explosive cast not going to land either.
Good flash there from Soaz. Uses 2 blast cones to complete his escape and does survive. As you said, though, Fnatic, they're trying to survive here, farm up for late, get more money onto Reckless, still the same game plan.
But if they can do that as precedent setting, this is the largest deficit Fnatic's had so far this split.
And so you can see this play up in the top side of the map. It's simply a matter of delaying, and maybe they can get a pick because Ray is pretty strong at this point in the game. Contracts, he's been involved in a lot of early kills. And Jesus, he wants to use the hooks to get out, but then he realizes, oh no, there's nothing I can do because Jensen is coming up through the river and I'm going to get collapsed upon. And this was a big mistake from Contracts. I'm not entirely sure what he was trying to do from the flank because the communication with Jensen was that Jensen was clearly backing away. He wasn't there to follow up. Ray was too far away with the wave, so it just really gave a free kill over to to the side of Fnatic, and there you saw the opportunity of Caps say, yeah, you better run, Jensen.
Very true, and you don't want to give away a kill, even if it's a 1-for-1 and you're trading jungler kills. So Cloud9 should not be the ones trying to trade. Fnatic are looking for trades. They want to go, even at this stage in the game. Trade turret for turret, objective for objective, kill for kill, and try and scale up there.
We'll see if they can make that happen. And honestly, C9, though, are trading better objectives. Bot lane tier 1 for top lane tier 2. You'll generally take even as the winning team. The gold deficit 6,000 going to be closer to 7 when this turret goes down.
And the thing is, they can just dive mid.
That. Well, Caps gets damage reduction. Here comes Galio, and the heroic entrance is in, saving Caps' life for now. Top lane turret dies, but so does Contracts. Well played, Soaz finally getting to that one, and an assist for Caps finally.
And finally, Fnatic are getting more back on the map because they get the tier 2 down in the bottom lane. Soaz realizes what's happening. He sees the Caps can get dived to mid. He immediately starts his back so that he's in range to ulti, keep Caps alive, and get a return kill.
That was even better than a trade, right? They +1 on that trade. They get, in addition to the turrets going down, the extra kill going back. So Cloud9, actually, this is a fairly late Rift Herald, as she'll respawn in the next 30 seconds if you don't take her, and they actually get to use it much later in the game, so you get to see Rift Herald in these situations where it actually affects, inhibitor turrets. So my hopes are high for one of the more creative and more, important, I would say, Rift Herald usages that we have seen since the, big change.
Yeah, well, importantly for Fnatic, Soaz has TP, so Rift Herald bot lane, team fights top lane for Baron. Not an easy play because Soaz can join.
And so the risk you have as Caps here in the middle lane is Orianna, no flash, very easy to dive you, especially with 3 members. But Jensen, because he has tower aggro, he's forced to escape, and the damage reduction was just so huge that it just prevented C9 from being able to secure the kill.
And Caps with a very good shockwave there. He delays them, saves more time for himself. So in addition to Soaz coming in, you kind of still have to buy time for the heroic entrance, because otherwise he's going to get bursted before Soaz even arrives there, even through the damage reduction. But he lands a very critical shockwave to also gain himself some time.
30% damage reduction works pretty well for himself, and now going to be a pretty secured Cloud9 Ocean Drake. No concerns on this. Contract's going to continue the last hit, but not use his smite on things he doesn't need to do that on. 5,000 gold difference, and we'll see what can come in next.
So now we're 20 minutes into the game. C9 have big advantages, but we don't have time for that because Reckless is going to make a play happen up top side.
Yeah, and Reckless is bringing a buddy. Soaz is on the way too. So again, Ray finds himself in. Uh-oh!
All right, both the solo laner's going to come join this one. Knock up on Ray, buying some time. Just a punch, not going to land yet on Jensen, who has a Banshee's Veil for himself now.
Or coming up the river. Cloud9 are trying to buy time here. They're baiting in a little bit.
Smoothie going to get not quite the hook. Reckless summoner heals for move speed. His flash also down right now. Jensen's going to get the root on the top laner, though. It's a lot of damage to the Soaz. They're going to try to knock him down. One more shot will do it, and Sneaky going to get his first kill of the game. Reckless caught out. Contracts was in behind. They get that kill picked up. Ray losing his life, but +1 for C9 is worth it. The flash, the chain's going to land. Jess is certainly going to go down. Double kill for Jensen.
And during that time, Caps gets a little bit of damage on mid lane, but Cloud9 have control of the map. Ping's already down onto Baron, though. Would definitely still be risky. Ray has teleport up, though. 20 seconds. He could get back out onto the field.
And I just love the reaction from Cloud9. They don't go for the Baron. They don't want to run the risk. Instead, they're going for more kills.
And it's unlikely that Broxah gets away. His W's on cooldown a few more seconds.
Yeah, and Ray, as we said, he has teleport, so he can use any of these wards down here to help cut off the escape if they really wanted to go for the chase. But now they're calling back towards Vision, towards around the Baron.
Smoothie getting a 2-for-1 as well as a sale at Jamba Juice. His flash for 2, and it's going to be pretty nice for him. And here comes the attempt. TP into the Baron pit, and Broxah is far.
TP from Ray as well. They're starting to burn it down, but here come Fnatic, 5 strong.
If they can join in time, Broxah over the wall, and he's in range to go for a thing, but it's going to be the hook in for Smoothie. No flash, no way out. He's going to drop down despite the safeguard over to Soaz. 5v4 continues. 3 health on Baron. It's got to be a shotgun versus Smite. It should go to Contract. There's always a chance you turn it around, and it actually picked up by Contract. He's going to be fine, and now they're re-engaged. They knock down 1, and Jensen is legendary. Health by just staying alive enough, and Soaz, not long for the world, gonna get shut down, turned back into marble.
And Fnatic are falling apart. They lose all of their members as C9 pick themselves up the Baron, pick up a massive gold lead, are in full control of the game.
8-0 for Jensen. Do not give him LeBlanc plus a ganking jungler here. Cloud9 absolutely playing true to their style, camping that mid lane, using it the entire game to gain their advantage. And then, once they have control over Baron, Smoothie lands the big hook onto the jungler, basically ensuring that, only a very big shockwave is going to steal this one, and it was an attempt from Caps, decently close, but definitely not going to be there. Cloud9 picking up all the extra kills on top side.
You talk about big Rift Heralds. Well, how about a Baron buff in the attempt to go down mid lane right here?
Do we get to see him dance at the Nexus?
I don't think so. I think Fnatic can easily hold for the next minute or so right now. We'll see how much they can take. They're going to find Ray in the bot side. Pops the stone plate. Looks to get away from Soaz, but he's running out of health pretty rapidly. Still burning down. Blue turret's been destroyed. Mid inhibitor turret is gone, but it's a kill on Ray.
But that's 5 members sent down bot as C9 take away your base. You've just lost the inhibitor. Best case scenario really for Fnatic, but they're really running out of options right now because we have to go back to how that all play happened, right? This is a very classic Fnatic move where Reckless, he just randomly appears in a side lane. Soaz will be there to support him. They get a kill onto the top laner. That slows down the enemy progression, which means that Fnatic can buy more time. But I've been so impressed with the way in which C9 just so readily collapse every time Fnatic are trying to make a play, and it's thanks to this double teleport that they are running with Jensen.
And it's very easy to collapse when you have this much control of the map. This early game from Cloud9 that they were able to carve out, leave all these wards through the Fnatic jungle. You get to see their movements ahead of time. Teleport, as you said, buys that 10-second window that they have to for Ray to be able to survive, and the rest of them come down. They clean up so much here, and now Sneaky's off to the 3-item scaling Caitlyn here with the crits all coming through, the double static Shiv or Energizer items coming through, and it is very difficult at this point to kind of mount a comeback. This is definitely many siege options for Cloud9. 1 minute on Baron coming up, and the Caitlyn traps will be very annoying as they line up through the jungle corridors.
Well, then we'll see what comes in for this one. 11,000 gold is quite the damage output here. We'll see what they can get for themselves as they keep moving forward. Baron's still off the map for a few more seconds, or a few more minutes, I should say. Mountain Drake in 1.5. It's all about sieging for turrets right now. Nice shot right there. Buys a bit of damage. Contract's pushed out a little.
Now, the historical record between C9 and Fnatic is actually 6-5 in favor of C9. And if they win this, they'll be able to extend that gap ever so slightly more. And that's through all the tournaments that they've actually competed against each other. So it's nice to see these organizations having so much back and forth against one another. And C9 being able to get this early advantage over them should be a big confidence boost for C9.
Definitely should be, considering their loss earlier in the day. Need to bounce back, and they're bouncing back very well in this one. Jensen goes in, forces out the Dark Passage. Not too big of a deal there.
Yeah, not really, but it's still going to be this one falling. Inhibitor number 2 is gone. Cloud9 still in control of the base and in control of almost all of the map right now. There's just such little left for Fnatic to run to, as top lane's going to be next up as they push the wave in.
C9 with some very clean and calculated League of Legends right now, but when you have a 12,000 plus gold advantage, it becomes very difficult to not play clean League of Legends. And when they have the Blitzcrank with that much vision as well, Fnatic always have to respect the possibility of getting caught out. And
speaking of clean play and respect, I like that Cloud9 are bringing controllers with them late into the siege to watch later on for the Reckless flanks. Like, they clearly have, from, I'm assuming, Reaper, of course, their coach, saying, hey, make sure you bring the controllers, bring them late, wait for the flanks a little bit later on, because Twitch is not super common elsewhere, but no, it's going to be a big pick for Reckless, and they're playing well around it. Siege continues now. Chain Lightning's going to pull aggro, so Sticky has to back off, and he's a little bit injured here. Jensen wants in, going to land a bit more damage, jumps right back out. Soaz is going to flash for the taunt. Here's the Justice Punch, here's the flight. They're going to go for what they can. The kick is in, and yes, the shutdown comes through. 4v5, there could be a big fight as Ray joins in on the battle, but he's outnumbered, of course, has to run Flay in again, and Jess is going to make sure he's going to drop and lose his life as well. Nice taunt comes in. Broxah getting up another kill. Caps flashing away from Explosive Cast, and Cloud9 running out of health. Smooth is going to be next up on the chopping block if they can get in. Jess is, the hook's going to come in, not quite going to land on a Sneaky just yet. No summoners to chase on just yet, but so is the right-hand side. TPing behind to a ward in Tribage. This could be a delayed ace for Fnatic.
Uh-oh, Cloud9 are actually going to be forced to turn and fight here. Soaz right behind him.
Justice Punch in, body tanked in by Contracts. Hooks in, they explode. Caps the start. What a great hook out of Smoothie just now. Can they find a bit more? He's cutting away from the team to buy some time for the rest of his squad. And the minions into the base buying a bit more.
Yeah, and Contracts actually wants to stop their back so that they can't go back to the minions.
TP's in 3 seconds. They had it available for Jensen. and Sneaky actually didn't switch trinkets to blue trinket. He could have trinketed and then ulted to stop one of the recalls and give some time for Jensen, actually.
And such a greedy play from Jensen, going for the flash onto Reckless in Fnatic space when they have a Thresh, a Galio. They're just poised and ready to punish you, Jensen, for making that kind of a play. And this is how you can very easily throw away your lead.
Yeah, he gets exhausted, he gets flashed on, kicked over there, and they get the other kill. Ray, as well, was already right next to them, so he's going to get chased down. But my curiosity is what happened on the top side here, because Cloud9 stuck around. Oh, Contracts made the choice to go for the flash there, and if Caps hadn't had his flash, then they might have been able to get that kill and get back out. But in the end, it is just going to be a trade anyway, since they eventually get Caps while he is chasing. And then smoothly goes to sacrifice his life. So this is how they played, through into the brush here. Sneaky's able to get the net, so that's his headshot guaranteed.
And crit.
Right onto Caps. And a crit headshot is going to be enough to finish that one off.
With a static shift, it's like 900 damage at the very start, and there's not much you can do. So that was well played across the two of them, but Cloud9 comes back to this one with the Mountain Drake picked up, with a 10,000 gold lead, ready to go with the double inhibitor still down.
And that's a bright side. Bright side for Fnatic. It was 12,000 earlier.
Fair enough.
But they're still backs against the walls. Orianna still yet to complete her third item, as Jensen is on 3.5, with level 16 LeBlanc as well. So as long as he doesn't look to try and make that same kind of a play and they just try and get themselves the Baron, C9 is still poised to take this game.
Yeah, Jensen definitely is massive, and Cloud9 have so much vision leading up to the Baron as well. The Baron should bow before them as well. Should be fairly trivial to clean that one up.
It's going to be picked up without any issues. Of course, you can see all of C9 here for this one, and all of Fnatic stuck in their base.
Yeah.
Are you ready for the hype? Here we go. Baron's getting low. Contracts. Oh, he misses a smite, but it goes to Jensen, or Sneaky anyway.
Honestly.
All right, that was, thank you. I appreciate you hearing me.
Cloud9 and Jensen showing in this game, one of the reasons why so many European mid laners do go over to North America. We treat them so well. Ganks all game long.
Yeah.
Plenty of resources. Grabbing the assassin for the mid lane. And he's definitely set up very well to carry, continuing the pressure in the mid.
It's also fact, because one of the biggest differences between NA and EU is this LeBlanc pick in EU. Like, it's still banned here and there against certain players, but it's not such a high priority, whereas for North America, it's like the most banned or picked champion, and it's considered extremely valuable, as demonstrated by the man in the mid lane, Mr. Jensen.
Mr. Jensen taking down the inhibitor now. 1 versus 3, drawing so much pressure with the Banshees as well. It's going to be that much more difficult to even punish him if he does flash in on Reckless.
And the triple inhib could drop down. Final attack comes through. Sneaky gets the credit onto this one, and here comes what could be the final siege, the final push. Baron buff on all 5, 10,000 gold lead in their pocket. Let's see if they can get that one. Shockwave catches the Caitlyn, though. The knockup's there. A little bit of damage coming out from Reckless, but it can't get more from the spray and pray. Sneaky staying alive. Gets a shutdown there on the Orianna, as Caps has got a giant entrance for Soaz, but doesn't really matter. He's missing 2 of his teammates already. Buys what time he can. Gets a shield from Broxa as well, and Reckless wants to flank to save the game. Kitty picked out Sneaky. He's going to try. He's 2 attacks from it, and instead, it's Reckless, the KDA player. Instead of winning the game, he wants to keep his deaths at 1. An 8 KDA for Reckless, but an L in the column right there as Cloud9 takes their win and shuts down Fnatic.
I thought he was going to go for the hero play. He didn't have spray and pray, unfortunately.
He was dead in 2 autos, though.
He was just going to be like, you know what, I'll just pass on this one.
Honestly,